Iain from RTO here, and welcome to another classic album review. And today we're going to go back to the 60s and a band that featured Neil Young and Stephen Stills. And we're talking about Buffalo Springfield. Now, Neil Young and Stephen Stills met in 1965 at the Fourth Dimension in Thunder Bay, Ontario, where Neil Young was in a band called the Squires, which were a group from Winnipeg, and he'd been leading since 1963. Stephen Stills was on tour with a band called Company, which was a spin-off from the Go-Go Singers. When Stills broke up the band at the end of the tour, he moved to the West Coast, where he worked as a session musician. Auditioned unsuccessfully for the Monkees, and he met up with a guy called Richie Furay, and former Squires bass player Ken Coleman, who had joined him. And then Young at the time was in meeting Bruce Palmer, who was playing bass for the Minor Birds. So they sort of all of a sudden all come together. So Buffalo Springfield, their debut album, self-titled, was released in 1966 in December of that year at Acto Records. Stephen Stills and Neil Young wrote most of the material. Now, the first pressing from 1966 didn't include a certain track. So in 1967 pressings they replaced a track called Baby Don't Scold Me with For What It's Worth. So it was never on the original album. So there are two versions of this about, and the one that I've got is this post 67. So who was in the band? Well, the band was Stephen Stills on vocals, guitars and keyboards, Neil Young on the vocals, harmonica, piano, Richie Furay on vocals, Bruce Palmer on the bass, Dewey Martin on the backing vocals, and the production was done by Charles Green and Brian Stones. I'm a bit bunged up today, folks. So the first track on here is a track called Go and Say Goodbye. Very catchy tune. Obviously got the great vocals of Stills and Young on it. Some great guitar playing on this. It's a bit of that country rock which they would take on to with their next projects. Really, really good. Tell that it could have been a Stills, Nash, Crosby and Young track. It's that good. Sit Down, I Think I Love You. One of those great little pop rock tracks. Some nice guitar work on this. Love the distorted guitar on this one. Then we get Leave. It's a little bit flat for me. I'm not very keen on that one. Never have been, to be quite honest. Nowadays, Clancy Can't Even Sing. Great song. You got three really good singers in this band, and they harmonise well together. Then we got Hot Dusty Roads. I love the bass line here from Bruce. It's absolutely very memorable. Keeps the song going. Really good song. Love that song. Then we got Everybody's Wrong. Again, some great guitar playing on this. Again, it could have come off any of the Neil Young stuff, or it's written by Stephen Stills. Got Richie singing the lead with Steve and Neil doing the backing. Then we get Flying on the Ground is Wrong. Yes, it is rather, isn't it? Really good song. Tell it's written by Neil Young. It's just got that humour and style of Neil Young. Very, very good. Then we got Burned. Neil takes the lead on this one with Richie and Steve doing the backing. Love the guitar solo on this, on the acoustic guitar. Very, very nice. Do I have to come out and say it? I love there's a little bit of that distortion guitar on it, which is pretty cool. Catchy tune. Neil Young singing the lead on that one. Great little track. Now this is the one they took off to put on another track, which we'll talk about in a minute. Baby Don't Scold Me. I like this track. It's got a real Beatles feel to it. I've managed to get this because I found it on another album, so I've sort of put the album together on a disc. Bits from that, bits from that, so I've got like the whole of the thing. So yeah, really good track. Then Out of My Mind. Not the best track on the album. It's a little bit dreary in places and it doesn't do nothing for me. Pay the Price. This is a very 60s pop song for me. Really works well. I like this track a lot. I like the sound on that. Very 60s. And then the one that they replaced it with, of course, is the great hit For What It's Worth. Absolutely brilliant track. Always love this. It's just a classic song from the 60s. I don't know why it didn't end up on the original album, but I'm glad they put it out and put it on because it is a brilliant track and it's one of my favourite tracks by Buffalo Springfield as well. Okay, this album didn't chart in the UK. Got to number 80 in the Billboard, number 54 on Cashbox, which I don't know what is the Cashbox. I think that's another one I must ask Mick. I'm sure Mick will thing it, tell me what it is. And World Record Album Charts 54. Then there's a track called Leave as well on this album that they sort of left off. It's okay. Okay, I sometimes think this is very overlooked. It's a classic album. All the Buffalo Springfield albums are good. They only made 3. But you can certainly tell the roots of Crosby, Still, Nash and Young on this. I love listening to this album. I love listening to anything that Neil Young and Stephen Stills are involved with. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. So there we go. Bit of Buffalo Springfield. That's all for today. I'm now going to have a hot toddy. Get rid of my bunged up. Now I'm just saying. Remember that advert for tunes? Do second dance keep it to nothing? Yeah, so I feel at the moment. So I'll be back tomorrow. And tomorrow we have got a viewer's request. We'll be looking at Psychedelic Furs. And tomorrow's retro ranking is a little bit different. We've always talked about good songs. We're going to talk about a band's bad songs. And we're going to look at the top 20 bad songs from Queen. And they have made some bad ones. Like most bands, you know, every band has a blip, and Queen have had 20 blips. So that's all for tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone, and bye for now.